Hello, my name is Ojaswee. I am a third-year computer science student here at Wayne State University. Today we're going to be talking about Forgotten Harvest and our project with the organization. But before I get started with the presentation, I would like to introduce our teammates. First of all, we have Sarah Baird, who is a fourth-year civil engineering student at Wayne State University. Then we have Brennan Dukes, who's also a fourth-year civil engineering student at Wayne State University. Then we have Bilal Farhat, who is a fourth-year electrical engineering student at Wayne State. Then we have Zachary Nikolai, who is a third-year computer science student at Wayne State University. To get started with the presentation, I'd like to talk about Forgotten Harvest. What is Forgotten Harvest? Forgotten Harvest is a nonprofit food rescue organization where they collect the surplus food from the food markets and the restaurants and redistribute it to the families in need, especially in the Metro Detroit area. It prevents food waste. As you can see in the graphic, just in 1 year, Forgotten Harvest collects more than 46 million pounds of food and redistribute it to the families in need. Forgotten Harvest has their extension. In 2011, they started Forgotten Harvest Canada, where they collect the food and distribute it in Canada. Then Forgotten Harvest has started a new facility, Forgotten Harvest Farms, where they grow their own foods. So what is the problem that we're addressing today? One of the main issue that we're talking about is securing a new facility. That is the new project with the Forgotten Harvest organization. For that, Zachary is going to be talking about the budget that is necessary for securing a new facility. Then we're going to be talking about the prime location for the new facility, and Sarah is going to talk about the prime locations. And we're going to have Brennan, who's going to talk about the alternate building uses of the new facility. The schedule for the presentation was all done virtually, and one of the way we stayed connected was through WhatsApp, where we called and texted each other with questions. We also held a meeting in June 11th to discuss the work and the distribution and how everyone was doing. And toward the end of the presentation, we're going to have Bilal Farhat, who is going to conclude our presentation. Now we're going to have Zachary, who is going to discuss the budget.
Hello everyone, I'm Zach, and I'm here to tell you about the budget for Forgotten Harvest securing a new location. So first we should look at the properties they already have so that when we're looking for new properties, we know the kind of buildings that they're looking for. So they have one building in Oak Park, Michigan, that's 19,800 square feet, located on 3 acres of land. They also have a farm in Fenton, Michigan, that's 160 acres of land, and it had an estimated value of $670,136. Additionally, the farm had a property tax estimate of $6,052 in 2019. Now, for new buildings similar in size to the Oak Park location that are in the Wixom and Novi area, were priced between $1 and $4 million. They also need to factor in the cost of moving the materials and the cost of renovations. So for maintenance, one thing they might have to focus on is taxes. In Oakland County in 2019, the tax rate for commercial, industrial, and utility property was 52.47. Now, this may or may not matter as much to Forgotten Harvest since they're a nonprofit, so they could be partially or fully exempt from taxes both federally and state level. Some additional maintenance expenses they'll have to worry about are wages for their employees, the mortgage payment for the property and buildings, as well as utilities and goods and services. So some short-term costs of getting the new building is that there will be a large upfront cost, and usually when buying property, it's investment for the future. There will also be the cost of finding new faculty in that area. This is because some of their employees and volunteers may not want to go to all the way out to a new area so they'll have to find new people. While they're finding new people, this will cost time, which will cost them money. They will also have to worry about renovation expenses. In the long term, the new property could bring in more revenue for them. It could also increase their client outreach as they're in a new area with new people. And after their initial payments are paid, the payments going forward could be more manageable. That is all I have with the budget, and I'm going to pass it off to Sarah to talk about the prime location.
Hi, my name is Sarah Barrett, and I will be talking to you about a new location for Forgotten Harvest and prime locations for that facility. An ideal location would be somewhere that is closer to the farm so that you can more efficiently allocate the goods that are produced by the farm. An ideal location would also have more freeway and highway access so that the allocation of goods is faster and more efficient as well. And another attribute of an ideal location would be close to schools and suburbs, so you have a nice pool of volunteers and employees. Now, Novi seems like a very prime location because you have 4 freeways. So you have M5, I-696, I-96, and I-275. It is also 20 miles closer than the current facility to the farm. Now, Novi Schools has 2,000 students in their high school. So that's a lot of volunteers, and you could also have employees from the suburbs surrounding the schools. And Novi makes room for distribution west. So you can open up more distribution facilities and expand westward from the central location of Oak Park. Harper Woods, on the other hand, is not closer to the farm, but it is also closer to M102 and I-94. So you have those 2 freeways that will help you more efficiently allocate goods and people. Harper Woods Schools isn't that big. It's like 600 students, but you have Grosse Pointe schools, so Grosse Pointe North and Grosse Pointe South, and altogether they have around 3,000 students in just the high schools. So that's a lot of volunteering opportunities. And Harper Woods is also closer to the current distribution facilities. So it's closer to East Detroit, where you have a lot of centralized distribution centers in Detroit. And that also makes room for more distribution centers to the east side as well. On to Brennan, talking about alternate building usages.
Hello everyone, my name is Brennan. I'm going to talk about alternate building use today for Forgotten Harvest. Green energy, I believe, is something that Forgotten Harvest can utilize, especially in their farm, if not their new building, especially as today's society pushes more and more for green energy. Over the past 40 years, green energy has continued to increase and be researched and developed and perfected, so call it, and this energy will always exist as long as the star shines, as long as the wind blows, the water moves, things like that. These resources will always be here for us, and I think it's important that we utilize those. And so Forgotten Harvest can use this on their farms or their new building. And rural and remote areas tend to need electricity. It tends to be difficult for these areas to obtain electricity. And so it's important that we have this green energy we can collect and store up for these areas. And that could include Forgotten Harvest Farm. It might be difficult to run electricity, depending on how big their farm is, out who knows how long. And so to have these storage areas that we can draw this electricity from and this power from would be tremendous. And I believe the likely energy types that Forgotten Harvest could utilize either on their farm or in their new building or close to their new building would be solar power, We could put solar panels on the building rooftop, wind power, turbines out in the middle of the field or off to the side of the fields or to the side of the building, hydropower if we decide to plant a building next to a stream or a river. If there's a river that runs through Forgotten Harvest's farm, we can utilize hydropower there. Another thing that we can utilize is greenhouses. Greenhouses can be tremendous, especially with the main building being so far away from the farm. Now, there's pros and cons to utilizing a greenhouse. There's increased production, which is fantastic. You can grow year-round and you can control the climate. You can maximize profits because you aren't worrying about shipping. All you're worrying about is taking care of the plants. There's less waste because you're not throwing out the bad stuff. You're growing everything. Some of the cons are that there's a large initial investment, and because it has such a high operational cost in the very beginning, most people want to commercialize their plants, and so they grow highly commercial plants. It requires precise design. You need an engineer. You can't just build up a building and call it a greenhouse. It has to work properly and maintain moisture and air pressure, temperature. Personnel, you're going to need a higher level of personnel, higher education level, skill level. These workers are in charge of the plants and the conditions, so it's important that they have a skill base that they can perform these tasks if something goes wrong. And you will need to establish a market operations early, either selling or distributing high quality products so that more people will continue to come to you and not want to move somewhere else, and you'll be able to maintain that client relationship and have that relationship. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Bilal for the conclusion.
Hello, I'm Bilal Farhat, and I'll be wrapping up this presentation with the conclusion. So we know that Forgotten Harvest prevents food waste and provides the community with fresh produce to the people in need. And to grow the organization, we plan on securing a new facility. This new facility will be located in the Novi area. We chose the Novi area because many freeways are near it, so it'll allow us to access the facility easier. And there are many schools and colleges near Novi, which would allow us to get more volunteers to help the facility. We know that the cost of the new location will be large for the renovations as well, but we believe that the revenue of this new facility and the client outreach would benefit the organization greater than the cost of the facility. We also want to implement changes to the facility to upgrade it and make it better than the other facilities. We are doing this by implementing solar and wind power to lower the costs of utilities. And we are also planning on implementing a greenhouse in the facility to be able to increase produce production. We could increase the produce production by running year round, and we could produce 2 to 3 more times produce. Any questions, you could email me or any of the team members. That's it. Thank you.